back to my channel. Hi, how's it going? Welcome to this video. Today we're going to be talking about my favorite thrillers of all time. I have, in my day, read a few thrillers, maybe like one or two. I made a list of about 20-ish thrillers that I could talk about in this video. I might not talk about all of them. I don't know. We'll see how I feel in like 45 minutes. I wanted to make this video, first of all, because I wanted to talk about books that I love. I want to give recommendations. That's like the foundation, I feel, of my channel. And also, I really love thrillers. Recently, I've been really craving like a really good thriller, but nothing really is like catching my eye. So if you have any like really good recommendations, please leave them down below. Now you might also notice the barrenness, the wasteland of my shelves. It looks gross. I know, Tiffany, it looks fucking gross. I get it, I know. Everything except for these books, which are books I need to unhaul, which I know is like literally also, again, Tiffany, I know. It's dysfunctional. It's upsetting, I know, Tiffany. I need to get rid of these books down here, right? And then the books on the shelf, I need to pack up, except for like a little pile that I've like put aside for books that I might read or whatever. In case you missed it also, I did a reading vlog. You should go check that out. If you're interested, you wanna see the first little bits of me packing and stuff. It's like a little thing. It's like a little moment, you know? So let's start talking about my favorite thrillers. I might do a part 2 if I don't get through all of them. We'll see. I think there's also literally more than 20, like in just general. I have a lot of thrillers that I really, really like and that I want to recommend. Anyway, let's get started, okay? I'm sure that your mom, I'm sure that your dad, I'm sure that your dog knows about this book. Like they have to. It's like BookTube's darling. That's not a thing. No, it is. It's BookTube's darling. That sounds weird. Anyway, I'm talking about No Exit by Taylor Adams. This is wild. And also the movie, not bad. The movie's pretty good. I really liked the movie, to be honest. Let me tell you right now, okay, Tiffany? Okay, Brandon? Okay, Aiden? If you are in a reading slump right now and you're like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. I get it. First of all, I get it. I've been there. I was there like literally. I'm there right now. If you don't know what to do, read this. If you haven't read this and you're in a reading slump, this will do it for you. It's so good. So basically we're following this girl. I can't remember her name. Darby. Her name is Darby. She's traveling, right? Because she got a phone call from somebody and they were like, guess what? Your mom's dying. Darby was like, I'm on my way right now. So she's driving in the middle of like a snowstorm to go see her mom to say like goodbye before she dies, you know? It's a snowstorm. It's like a blizzard or whatever. So she has to like stop at this rest stop. And also she happens to find like a small child like locked in the back of someone's van. And there's only like 6 people at this rest stop. So she knows with her little bird brain, that's gotta be one of these people. And that's the book. I'm telling you, it's so good. Read it, Tiffany. Now I'm recommending this next book because when I did read it, I really liked it. However, I literally don't remember what it's about. I don't really remember any of the plot points either because I read it like 10 years ago, like 9 years ago. It's like, it's been a while, but I remember sitting down. Why am I talking this accent? I need to stop with the accents. They're bad. They're not good. Anyway, I remember sitting down on the couch being like, oh, I'll read for 20 minutes. And then literally 4 hours later, read this entire book in one sitting. I couldn't stop. And that is Dare Me by Megan Abbott. First of all, this cover, I love this cover so much. Oh my God, look at that. It's just so simple, but it's so perfect. Again, I literally don't know or remember the premise. I don't remember the synopsis. And I don't remember literally, and I'm too lazy to be honest with you, to read the inside cover. But I know that it has to do with like high school cheerleaders and their coach. Their coach. I'm pretty sure their coach is like replaced. They get this new coach. The relationship is inappropriate, I'm pretty sure. That's what I remember. I'm pretty sure maybe they kill someone. I don't know. I loved it though. So take this with a grain of salt. It has been 9 years, but if anybody on BookTube is gonna recommend you a book that they wrote 9 years ago, I can't remember a single thing from, it's gonna be me. I'm gonna be that booktuber. Literally different. I'm so different from other girls. Also, another book that I read 10 years ago. Hear me out, hear me out, hear me out before you get out your pitchforks and your little, what are those called? Before you get out your pitchforks, hear me out, okay? I know the plot of this book. So do you. You all know the plot of this book. That is Jurassic Park by Michael Crichton. Listen, when I chose this book to recommend it to you, I was like, is this even a thriller? But then I was like, if it's not a thriller, what is it? Maybe action adventure, actually, now that I'm thinking about it, or sci-fi. But it has like thriller thing, you know, it's like thriller-ish. It's so good. Like, I'm telling you, if you love the movie Jurassic Park, which I'm sure you do, because everybody does, it's like literally one of the best movies ever made. But if you love Jurassic Park, you're gonna love the book. First of all, it's like way more gross, like way more gory. I remember that. I remember reading the book, me being like teeny tiny, just like a child basically, 10 years ago, because 10 years ago I was 10. I was like a little itty bitty girl, so skinny, being like, oh my God. The movie didn't show this much. Like, I was scandalized. I was like, oh my goodness, Mr. Steven Spielberg would never. Also, it has all these other different components that like the movie kind of glosses over or just like doesn't include at all. Like about the characters, about like Jurassic Park, about the founder, about the children. Like, it's just, there's just so, like, if you want Jurassic Park, the movie, but like a little bit extra, read the book. The book is so good, I'm telling you. Okay, anyway, since we're talking about books that I haven't read for 10 years. Let's talk about a book I haven't read in 8 years. I didn't even put two and two together. Like, I was like, oh, this is gonna be such a cute, fun video. And now I'm like realizing that I haven't read some of these for a long time. I don't know, what's the statute of limitations on like book recommendations? You know what I mean? Like, that's the question. At what point does my recommendation expire? Do you know what I mean? Like, at what point is it no longer feasible? Or is it always feasible? I have Night Film by Marisha Pessl. I love this cover so much. Oh my God, I love it. It's literally to die for. This is gonna be a hit or miss, okay? I'm not even gonna say you're gonna love this. This is so good. Like, no. It's really not for everyone. And I fully accept that. I fully get it. However, if it is for you, it is for you, okay? This book is about this like filmmaker, right? He's like super legendary. He's enigmatic. He's an he's an I can't even say it. He's an enigmatic, got it, filmmaker, specifically horror films, okay? He's like better than Hitchcock, okay? People are crazy about him, but he's like shrouded in mystery. Nobody knows anything about him. And then his daughter, whose name I think is Ashley, she like dies by suicide. And everybody is like horrified. Everyone's like, oh my God, Cordova, that's the filmmaker. Cordova, we're so sorry for your loss. We can't believe that this would happen to you. Again, he's shrouded in mystery. Like, nobody knows anything about this man. But there's this journalist guy, right? Named like Brandon or Todd or something. He's just like a random white guy. And he's like a journalist, right? And like back in the day, he wrote this like, you know, think piece, this like, you know, expose on Cordova, the filmmaker. Literally, Cordova like ruined his career because Cordova was like, fuck you, Todd. And so Todd now, after hearing about Ashley's death, R.I.P. Ashley, is like, he fucking murdered her. I bet he fucking murdered her. He then starts his own like investigation in hopes that he can prove that Cordova isn't this like guy that anybody wants to really be friends with or like, you know, admire, but then also to maybe like get his career back. His career is fucked. It's wild. It's dark. The book has this multimedia aspect to it. If the characters are looking at a web page, you're looking at a web page. Oh, like this? How cool is that? Or if the characters are looking at like a note or a photograph or anything like that, you're also looking at that thing. Look at that. How cool is that? If the premise appeals to your sensibilities, I would recommend picking it up because I really, really, really like it. But take my recommendation with a grain of salt because I haven't read it in 8 years. Also be aware that this book is not character driven at all. Don't expect crazy character development. It's not gonna happen. The book is much more of a plot driven book. It's really good. I really like it. Anyway, again, I feel like this book is very much hit or miss, but I feel like most people think it's a hit. in my opinion. Like, I think it's a hit. So I have The Push by Ashley Audrin. I loved this book. Like, I didn't expect to love it. Do you know what I mean? I went into it being like, oh, this could be fun and cute, but it's genuinely, like, first of all, a page turner. Second of all, the characters. Oh my God. So this is a novel about this woman whose name is Blythe. Blythe gets married to this guy. They are happily married. They move in together. Everything's like boo, 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 boo. Everything's great. And then her husband is like, Blythe, darling, we should have children. Blythe is like, I don't think I ever really wanted kids. So this is awkward. But then, you know, he wears her down and she's like, fine, we'll get pregnant. We'll have children, whatever. Todd. They do. They have a daughter named Violet. And Blythe, from the beginning, never connects with Violet. And Violet, seemingly, never connects with Blythe. Their relationship is very tumultuous. Blythe thinks that there's something wrong with Violet. Blythe gets pregnant again. Congratulations, Blythe. And so she gives birth to a baby boy. And her and this baby boy, they are like this. They connect immediately. They're like literally besties. Besties. And then something happens. Things go from there. It's wild. I love this book. I loved it. For me, it has like the perfect mixture of like thriller, mystery, you wanna know what's going on, but then also like that like creepy kid kind of like horrific horror story kind of moment. Like, I love it. If you know that I love anything to do with creepy children. Creepy kids, so good. Love this. Please read this. I think this would also be a really good book to get out of a slump, depending on your taste. This next book I read like 2 years ago, but I'm telling you that I read it in like in one sitting. Like, I started it at like 10 p.m. and then finished it at like 5 a.m. Like, I'm telling you, this book is addictive and so good. That is Behind Closed Doors by B.A. Paris. I haven't read anything else from B.A. Paris, but I'd be interested to, just based on this book. This has like a classic premise, but it does it, in my opinion, super, super well. And that is basically that this like man and woman are perfect for each other, right? They have like the perfect marriage. She's like the perfect wife. He's the perfect husband. Everybody looks in and they're like, oh my God, it's literally gold or whatever. But however, her husband is like a sociopath, psychopath kind of guy. And he's like literally blackmailing her and like trapping her in the, it's literally wild. Like I said, I was up all night reading this book because I could not stop. I needed to know what was gonna happen. I feel like the main character is like the perfect mixture for me between like meek, like, oh, I'm just a stupid girl, but then also like this bad bitch who, like, if you do one too many things to piss her off, it's over for you. I loved it. And then the ending of this book, there are things that I feel about it. I don't want to say anything because I don't want to spoil anything, but the ending. I read this book maybe like 5 years ago and I loved it. And then I read the second book and the second book was actual ass. And I'm telling you, if you read the first book, don't read the second book. Don't do it. I'm telling you, don't read the second book. Maybe you'll start to read the second book and you'll know what I'm talking about. It's not good. Also, just like look on Goodreads. The second, anyway, I always go into rants about the second book, but I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the first book, and that is The Butterfly Garden by Dot Hutchinson. This is like a horror thriller moment. So this is about this girl who gets like kidnapped. In the beginning of the book, she is kidnapped and she's taken to like this guy's secret place. I don't even know what to call it. I think it's like a basement where he has kidnapped like 16 or 17 other girls who are varying in age, but never older than 18, where he has tattooed butterflies on their backs. And then once they hit a certain age, 18, he does something that is horrific. If you're really into like serial killer, like kidnapping / you know, female empowerment kind of moment, so fucking good. I loved this so much. I feel like this would be like a really good reading slump buster as well. But everything about this book, I nearly loved. I think there was like 1 or 2 things I can't remember because it's been like years that I didn't like, but for the most part, it was like a solid 4-star read, like a solid 4-star read. I want to talk about 2 YA thriller, horror, sci-fi kind of books that are very, very dear to me, that I love and that I will continuously recommend until the day that I literally die. And that is Only Ever Yours and Asking for It by Louise O'Neill. Let's start with Only Ever Yours, because I think it's my favorite of her work. Only Ever Yours is a YA dystopian sci-fi Black Mirror episode. Like, it's a nightmare. It very much, I think, plays on The Handmaid's Tale by Margaret Atwood. But this is about a future society where women can't be born naturally anymore. Like, biological cis women cannot be, you know, pushed through the canal. Gross. All the scientists in the world are like, what do we do? Oh, should we just like maybe not have women? And they're like, no, we need women. And they're like, okay, well, what are we gonna, like, maybe we should just clone some? And they're like, yeah, maybe we should clone some supermodels. And so literally that's what they do. They clone supermodels. And then they put all these supermodels, all these like, you know, pubescent teenage supermodels, like clones of supermodels, into these institutions, right? Where they have 3 tracks. 3. Okay, they can either become wives, they can become whores, or they can become like nuns basically, or like women of the school who are like instructing it. We're following, I think her name is Frida. She is like top bitch at this like institution. I don't want to say school because it's really not school. Literally, the only thing that matters at the school is looks. That's it. The book demonstrates how they're indoctrinated into believing that their worth and that their own humanity comes from how they look. And literally, like, oh my God, I can't even, this book, it's so good. They're constantly like restricting their calories. They're constantly working out. They're constantly like working on their like makeup. They're constantly thinking about like, you know, getting filler, blah, 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 blah. And like, they're constantly also told that like fat girls are obsolete. Anyway, I'm telling you, if there's any book from this list that I really, really, really recommend, it's this one. Like, it's so good. It will make your stomach curdle. Like, it's so good. And then Asking for It is just as horrifying. Asking for It is about this girl. I forget her name. She's a horrible person. She's like a really terrible person. Like, she's rude to her friends. She's super judgmental with other people. She's like a bully. She's kind of like one of those like pick-me girls, you know what I mean? And then she gets R-worded at a party, and photos of her assault are posted on the internet for everyone to see. Like, everyone. And from there on, she becomes a different person. And I'm telling, like, again, this is also the kind of book that you could read in one sitting. Like, I was fucked up reading it. Like, I could not put it down because it was just like this horror show unraveling before me. Oh, again, if you haven't read Louise O'Neill, specifically like these 2 books, they're so good. Please read them. I hope you love them. And they're horrifying and they're gruesome, which is why I kind of added them, because I was like, these are thriller-ish. I can't make a thriller video without mentioning this book because it's one of my favorite like literary thrillers. I don't know. I'm not sure if it is like considered like a literary thriller. I'm talking about The Good People by Hannah Kent. This book will reach up your asshole, grab your heart, and pull it through. Like, first of all, Hannah Kent's writing, stunning, gorgeous. Oh my God, this woman could literally convince me of anything. Like, Hannah Kent would be like, Jordaline, lift your shirt and slap your belly and eat a banana. And I'd be like, you got it. Like, I'll do it. Don't have to say it twice. I'm there. That was a weird example. Anyway, The Good People is about this woman. She lives with her husband and then also her grandson. Her daughter died, I think a year or so ago, and she was left her grandson. And so her husband and her have been watching or caring for and parenting him. The strange thing about her grandson is that she met him when he was like 2, right? And he seemed completely normal, completely fine. He was like a little boy, just, you know? And that was when her daughter was alive. But after her daughter has died, her grandson, when he's delivered to her, seemingly has mental disabilities and physical disabilities as well. Like, his limbs are kind of twisted and gnarled and he can't walk. And he also can't speak. She's a bit confused. She's like, what happened? But nobody has any answers. She doesn't know. And then at the beginning of the book, unfortunately, her husband dies. Oh, it's such a bummer. So she has to like deal with her grief, but then also care for this boy. And then she meets this woman who's kind of like the village witch, kind of like the village like medicine woman. And she tells her, this boy is a changeling. This boy is of the Fae. The Fae stole your real grandson and replaced him with this thing. She's like teetering between like, you're full of shit and like, I believe you. You know what I mean? Like she doesn't know where to go. Throughout the whole book, that's basically what it is. It's like her trying to navigate whether or not this boy is a changeling or it's her actual grandson. And I cannot tell you how horrifying the whole book is. Beautiful and sad and weird. Like, I love it. If you were even a little teeny tiny little bit, Tiffany, interested, you're gonna love it. You're gonna love it. It's so good. This next book is like a classic on my channel. I've talked about it. I used to talk about it a lot back in the day when I was, you know, just a small, tiny little booktuber. That is Zoid Stage's Baby Teeth. I love this cover. I have always loved this cover. Like, oh, stunning. This is about a mother and her child. Her child happens to be a psycho and like hates her mom. And so she was like literally trying to kill her. That's the whole book. The whole book is this mother who is terrorized and constantly in fear for her life because her small child is homicidal. Like wants to kill her and actively tries to. And it's so good. Like I can't even, like I don't want to explain it any better or worse than that because that's literally what the book is. And if that's at all interesting to you, you're going to like this because it's fast paced. It's like crazy. There's 1 or 2 scenes in this book that like stick in my mind because of just how like, oh my God, she's like 5. What the like, it's literally wild. It's so good. Especially if you like creepy kids. The creepiest of kids, in my opinion, is this book. Like this child is a psycho. She's psychotic. She's not well, but I live. I haven't read this book for probably 4 or 5 years, maybe like 4 years. I can't remember. It's a 500 to 600 page book and I read it in one sitting. And that is The Crow Girl by Eric Axel Son. This is like a bind up of this, I think like Danish or Swedish mystery thriller trilogy that was bound up. So in The Crow Girl, we're following this woman who's a detective and she just gets assigned to this like homicide case where children are being found dead and like mummified. Like these kids are like literally being put through it. Like somebody's murdering children and mummifying their corpses. It's weird. It's suspicious. There's also like gay stuff happening and then like hidden identities. The psychologist who's like very close to the case and starts working on the case is like super suspicious and like she might be the killer. And then there's like these other people who like might be the killer. It's so good. I'm telling you, I loved it. And like a lot of people back in the day, which like really annoyed me honestly, but back in the day people used to say that like this book had horrible mental health representation. But honestly for me and like what I know about things like post-traumatic stress disorder and DID and borderline, the mental health representation is done really, really well, in my opinion. I loved it, dude. I really need to reread it. It's such a good like mystery thriller kind of moment. Not only that, but like the twists and the turns, they are twisting and turning all over the place. The last book I want to talk about is one, again, that I haven't read in a while. And it's kind of a mixture for me between like fantasy and thriller, kind of. And that is The Ghost Bride by Yang-Shi Chu. First of all, let me just say, if you get the audiobook for this, okay, and you listen to the audiobook, I'm telling you, you are going to have the time of your life because the narrator of the audiobook has a voice like butter. I still remember her describing ice and me being like, oh my God, please tell me more about this ice. Like the audiobook is so good. One of my favorite audiobooks of all time. The narrator is perfection. It's like almost ASMR. This is about this girl. She's kind of like poor. Like her family, I think, used to be like a little bit rich, but now they're kind of just like living in the slums a little bit, and they're about to lose their house when she gets a marriage proposal. By the way, this is like, I think, like early 1900s, maybe 1800s China, I think. Maybe 1700s. I can't remember the time period, but it's like China in the old days. And so she gets a marriage proposal and her family are like, oh my God, yes, we can survive, we can live in this house, we can keep our home. And she's like, ugh. But then she also finds out that the husband is dead. From what I remember, she herself ends up going to the spirit world. I can't remember why, but either way, I remember loving it. I remember loving it because first of all, the cover is stunning. Second of all, the writing is gorgeous. And not only that, but like, it's so like whimsical and mystical, and like the spirit world is, oh my God, it's so well thought out, every single part of it. And like the twists and the turns and the main, oh my God, the whole thing is so good. If you decide to read it, please come back and let me know if you did and what you thought of it, because I swear to God, I can't even imagine somebody not liking this book, because it's so good. It's so like, it's so beautiful and like just vivid. That's like that's like the word that comes to my mind, is just vivid. It's stunning. Anyway, my friends, my family, my familia, thank you so much for watching this video, for being here with me. It's been so nice to see you. I hope you're striving and thriving and being the bad bitch that you are, and that I know you are. Okay? Sit the fuck up. Put your fucking chin up. Start acting like a bitch. Be the cunt we know you are. Thank you. Let me know down below if you've read any of these books, if you agree or disagree with any of my recommendations. I would love to know, because listen, I know that some of them are kind of like polarizing. I know that some people really don't like some of them. That's fine. It's like whatever. But like, let me know. Don't forget to hit subscribe, because we talk about spooky shit. We talk about creepy shit. We talk about ghost brides and baby teeth and shit. Why did I say it weird? Thank you so much. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye. Au revoir. Goodbye, friend. Goodbye, Tiffany. Au revoir. Goodbye. I hope you have a wonderful day. Goodbye.